The doors to the world have been flung wide open, and the view that's available is staggering. Staggering. Through technology and innovation, opportunities abound and the possibilities seem endless. Who would agree with that? Who would agree with that? I mean, you just have to get online. My husband will ask me a question and I'll Googly it. I'm like, all right, well, let's Googly. Let's see what they say, right? I mean, I'm the smartest person in the world because I have Google. And as inspiring as this can be, it can be equally overwhelming. And so how many of you get overwhelmed? How many get overwhelmed? Oh man, whew. Talk about a dagger to the heart. I get overwhelmed. And before I know it, 3 hours have gone by and I've accomplished absolutely nothing because I've researched something to death. So listen to this. This unintended consequence of abundance. Write that down. Unintended consequences. I want you to write that down. Unintended consequences. When Adrian Sabatino and I were in business together in KW Naples, one of the things that we would always ask each other when we would want to do something new or we wanted to go in a different direction, we would, or any decision that we would make, we would ask ourselves, each other, well, what are the unintended consequences? What are the unintended consequences? And here's what Gary says. The unintended consequence of abundance is that we are bombarded with more information and choices in a day than our ancestors received in a lifetime. Than our ancestors received in a lifetime. And you know what? We can talk about ancestors if we want to, but I'm a product of the 70s. I grew up in the 80s. And I'm telling you, before the advent of the computer, my life was way simpler. And before the advent of this, and that was just in the 80s. The worst thing my parents had to deal with was Guns N' Roses and me downloading or going to the store and spending all this money on cassette tapes. Right? I mean, come on, it's not even our ancestors. It was just a few years ago. All right. Harried and hurried, a nagging sense that we attempt too much and accomplish too little haunts our days. So let me ask you, how does this show up for you in your life and in your business? The unintended consequence of abundance is that we are bombarded with more information and choices in a day than our ancestors received in a lifetime, harried and hurried, a nagging sense that we attempt too much and accomplish too little haunts our days. How does this show up for you? Think about it. Joanne, how does this show up for you?
So when I first I've been in the business for 18 years. And when I've been at KW for 4 years, when I first got to KW and still is today, it's, very overwhelming. There's so much stuff. That's exactly one of the reasons why I got Becky as a coach. And she knows this. She's constantly helping me because I think I can do all this stuff and I want to do all this stuff, but I don't concentrate on one thing. So she's helped me with that. But also I have to be happy with, if I get that one thing done in that day, that's good enough. I'm always feeling like, oh, but I got to get all this other stuff done. It's like, no, get the one thing done and let the rest of it go. So. Because
Gary says there are a lot of important things, but there's only one most important thing. So for Lisa, that may be today, reaching out to everybody for, not today, but next week after Christmas, that may be reaching out to everybody to make sure they're going to show up to her event. Right? That's the one thing. The one thing every day is to have 3 real estate conversations. 3 real estate conversations. Update it in your database. Add the people to your database. It's 3 real estate conversations. Right? You do it consistently over and over and over. I love that, Joanne. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for the plug about me being your coach, man. I like that too. All right. That's good.
Well, also I can contest to it is a fact that you give Becky something and she researches the heck out of it. I was having some health issues and I said to my other coworker, I'm going to send this to Becky because she'll research it and figure it out for me. And you did.
I
So like,
know.
maybe I'll stop doing that so much. So you can
That is
stay
funny.
on one thing.
I immediately start researching it. I do. I wanted to be an attorney. When I was younger, that was probably part of it. How does this show up for you guys? I'd love to hear for who else, who has a challenge with this, and how does this show up in your life and in your business in the past? In the past, how has it showed up that you are harried and hurried and have a nagging sense that you attempt too much and accomplish too little? How has this shown up for you, Renee?
Well, thank you. Well, I was just thinking, I'm a big multitasker, and that is just not smart. I like lists. I have lists. So you almost feel like you're productive. For me, I always like crossing off the list. But guess what? None of those are important. From leaving the house, dropping off my dry cleaning, going to CVS, picking up shampoo, and then by the time I actually get to the office, I'm exhausted, and it's like half the day's gone because I haven't done anything, although I've crossed everything off the list. Well, not everything. So I realized, forget all that, because none of that matters. None of that's bringing in income for me. So just kind of shifting my mindset to really doing the one thing. And of course, I always like to overachieve, right? Because I like goals and I like to be competitive. But then I realized, forget it, because then you become overwhelmed and then you give up and then you just go from here to here. So for me, I just realized, with your help, Becky, thank you, just making realistic goals and just sticking to the goals, calling, like you said, 3, I'm trying to call 10 people a day. 3 to 10, let's just say that, right? But just sticking to the realistic goals and actually doing it. And that's it. And doing nothing else and feeling like I've achieved by just doing that. And, so that's my life. Everything else, the house, the clothes, the laundry, all that stuff that's in your mind, grocery shopping, forget it. Because that's what I have to do. I have to give it up. Being a perfectionist also, you want everything done right. Well, guess what? I just put the Christmas lights up on the tree last night and the kids came home 2 days ago, but I'm like, I can't do it all. And, that kills me inside that it's not done, but it's not the priority right now. Right. And that's hard for me.
Yeah. I love that you admitted to that, Renee, because it's hard for a lot of us, right? We want to end each day with the checklist completed. And you've realized that that's not necessarily going to get you a sense of accomplishment, though, of the one thing that you could do that's going to take care of everything else. Let's take what Renee said for a second. If you just focused on your one thing, which is growing your real estate business, could you hire someone to do all that other stuff?
Absolutely.
So what's the one thing, and this is where we go back to this conversation, what's the one thing that I can do such that by doing it, everything else becomes easier or unnecessary? I learned a really big lesson from my friend Heather Kane. One day I was out grocery shopping and I'm like, grocery shopping and I've got to go do this, and I got to do this. And she says, girl, you got to hire somebody to do that stuff for you. That you shouldn't be wasting your time doing that. And I was like, you're right. Now, the first thing I said was, I was like, well, I don't know if I can afford that. Right. I don't know if I can afford that. And then I was thinking about it and I'm like, really, all I have to do is get one more. And by getting one more, it pays for it for the whole year. Okay, I can do that. And so now what I've done before I sold my house, Renee, is I went on Amazon and I set everything up that I needed to buy on Amazon so that it's recurring, right? My shampoo, the stuff that's recurring, and it just shows up, And if I've got an abundance of it, I just pause it on Amazon, right? Or I have my grocery list at Publix and I send it and they do my grocery shopping for me and I just pick up. I get hours back a week. Hours back a week. My mom was so funny. She said, yeah, but don't they charge you for doing that? And I'm like, yeah, but Mom, I'm worth $350. I'm worth $350, $400 an hour. See, you guys got to start thinking that way. How much is your value per hour? And are you spending that time doing activities that are increasing that value per hour while others are doing the other stuff? I love that, Renee. Congratulations. You're having some breakthroughs. You're having some breakthroughs. I love it. All right. And I've got the chat box up, and Rita says, I totally agree with Renee. Rita says, I totally agree with that. And Joanne says, do the one thing and you can hire. Joanne, you said it. You can hire someone else to do the other stuff eventually. Yeah, you may not be able to hire them to do it immediately, but it's the little things here and there, here and there, here and there. Okay, so to finish up, I want to say this. We're going to finish up this chapter, and then I'm going to wish you guys a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. The one thing sits at the heart of success and is the starting point for achieving extraordinary results. And Joey, or I would say Renee, is learning this because now she's teaching it as a coach. And when you coach someone and you teach someone, then you really learn it at a deep level. Based on research and real life experience, it's a big idea about success wrapped in a disarmingly simple package. And that is the one thing sits at the heart of success and is the starting point for achieving extraordinary results. Okay. So one of the things we're going to start doing next is, I would love for all of you, if you can, is to go to part 1. And I would love for you over Christmas, if you can take 30 minutes a day or 20 minutes a day or whatever it is, and listen to or read the lies.
Mhm.
The lies. These are the myths and the lies that derail us. And it's going to be a few chapters. I mean, at least you could read maybe each chapters. If we read chapters 4 through like 6 or 7, these chapters aren't really that big. And we're going to really get into the meat of these myths. And I know that these myths are going to hit at the heart of you. There's going to be 1 or 2 of these myths that you're going to be like, oh my gosh, that's me. And what I want for you, what I wish for you, is that you take these myths to heart and you work in 2022 to release yourself from them. Release yourself from them, because you'll be more productive and you'll be more satisfied at the end of the day. Okay, happy holidays. If you celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas. We all celebrate a new year. It's going to be a new year, 2022. Oh my goodness. Can you imagine? I thought we'd be like the Jetsons, like flying cars around and all kinds of stuff. And what do you know? We're still in gas-powered vehicles. All right. I love y'all. Have an amazing, amazing holiday season. And I will see you guys on January 3rd. Bye.